Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are. And good evening to you, Gonzo. It's evening for us. Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, I'm a long way away from Scotland, but I think the same time zone still applies. So good evening to you, me laddie.
Thank you. How are you? You all good? You keeping well?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Bit of a run. Just got out of the shower. I want it to be, freshly refreshed and radoxed up, before we do our lovely cup of tea. I've got a cup of tea in an old mug, may I say. Just wink, wink, nudge, nudge, if you know what I mean. Yeah, mate, I'm ready to go. But I must say, at this early juncture, you're going to hit me with a load of rumours. I've had a little read, and I've had a look, and I can honestly say, unless you're going to say someone I don't know, I've never heard of any of them.
Nah, I'm pretty much like that. When I write down the rumours for the cup of tea, I can scribble them down because it's just to sort of remind me. If I scribble down Joe Allen, I look at my bit of paper, I know it means Joe Allen. With this one, I've had to almost do block capital letters a little bit, and I was just saying to you before we come on, there's more vowels than consonants in their surnames, and that is never a good sign. That means I don't know who they are. But we'll get onto that in a second, but I've got a question for you. I've got a question about a question. If cash is the answer, what is the question?
If cash is the answer, what is the question?
Yes.
I guess the question is, what do you need for a good night out?
Yes, or it could be 16 million. What has Sullivan and Gold taken out the club?
Oh, not cash.
Well, they have, haven't they?
Well, is it surely not cash? It must have been a bank transfer. You'd imagine wasn't in hard ready. That was a big brown envelope, isn't it? That's a massive envelope.
Don't ruin my fun. I had this little opener lined up. You've spoiled it now, haven't you?
Oh, well, I don't know. What was it?
Well, that was the joke. It was a joke. It was
the envelope bit was a joke?
No, never mind. Anyway, Matty Cash. Probably the only name that I can pronounce. So I might as well get the easy one over and done with. But he's probably the strongest rumoured player in the last 24 hours to be coming to West Ham. Sky Sports News was sort of leading with it. And I think it come from The Athletic. I think it was them that ran with it first of all, who are getting bigger and bigger, but they do have...
Doing well, aren't they?
Well, they have a lot of weight behind them. They are quite reliable, good contacts and stuff. And they were saying that we've gone after Matty Cash and Nottingham Forest. They say right back, but he used to be a midfielder because he's sort of converted to right back. So I'm going to call him a midfielder. I think he's a midfielder because I think that's why we would be going after him. So, 22 years old. Now this is where it gets interesting. Our bid was apparently 10 million. It's been rejected because AC Milan have apparently offered 15 million. I mean...
No, sorry. We've offered how much?
10.
Well, you got to chance your arm, haven't you? Why would he want to go to AC Milan when he can come to West Ham? And Nottingham Forest clearly want 2/3 of the money rather than the full 15 million.
To put it into context, so it's a package worth 15 million, and apparently the latest is that Forest say 12 million. 12 million is what we want from Matty Cash. Over to you, West Ham. So we'll wait and see. I'd like to think the £10 million bid was genuine, that they would then go up to 12, assuming the interest is legit and he is genuinely wanted by Moyes, I guess. That's the thing. There was also things that we want to pay in instalments, and Forest aren't too happy about that at the minute. Matty Cash, though, the player, not the deal, the player. What do you think of him?
A very talented family, Geo. His granddad was a country and western singer. His dad was a tennis player who won Wimbledon. Talent is just running through the family lineage. And aside from that, I can't tell you an awful lot about him, really. I did read exactly what you said, which was he is a midfielder, a high-energy midfielder, who this season has been playing at right back. Aside from that, I can't tell you. I've not seen Nottingham Forest play at all, but I do know that Nottingham Forest got taken over a little while ago, a season or two ago, and I think they spent some big money in the last couple of seasons. So I think they're meant to get promoted last season, and this season they've spent that much, but it doesn't seem to be happening for him. As for the player, can't tell you anything about him.
I've not seen him for a while. I remember him being touted as sort of potentially the next big thing to come from the Championship, or not the big thing, but a decent player, someone that could step up, and he's maybe at that age where it is time for him to look to step up. I I don't know. It's not a deal I'm poo-pooing, but it's not a deal I'm overly excited about either. But that's just because I don't know enough about the player more than anything. Can't really judge. It makes sense if we're going for someone that can play centre mid, but can also play right back. It's a clever move, I guess you could say. Has you sort of alluded to it? Your video you done yesterday about the transfers and stuff. Last time we done a cup of tea, you said we spoke after a game, wasn't it? It was on a cup of tea, so people have heard our conversation where I said I think we were preparing for the drop.
Oh, okay.
Are you very much on my side a little bit now? I mean, rumours like this, I would suggest, only back up my conspiracy.
Yeah, but more entrenched than just that, Geo. I mean, it's not. I sort of, when you said it, I felt like you were suggesting that we're looking at it and things are pretty bad, and so we're starting to prepare for the worst and get ready for the championship. And whilst that is definitely happening, there's no doubt about that. What I did find an additional surprise on top of that was the fact that actually been going on for quite a long time. And I think that's the thing, to find out that every player is on that contract at the 50% wage drop was really. I think that's quite standard though, not just at West Ham. I think most clubs in the Premier League have it. I wouldn't be surprised if even Man U have something ridiculous like that written in their contracts. Obviously it's different. You join Man U, that a player is just going to ignore it. They're going to go, well, that's not happening. You know, I'm not fussed about that. But I think most clubs have it, just like most Championship clubs will have. If we get promoted, you'll get a 25% wage increase automatically, regardless of how many games you played and stuff. I wouldn't read too much into it, but I'm pretty sure when we went down last time in 2011 they didn't have it, so I think maybe they've learnt from the errors, and it wasn't their errors when we went down. It wasn't their necessarily Sullivan and Gold's squad that was assembled and stuff. They had the repercussions of the owners previous, and so I don't know, I don't read too much into that. That's all I'm going to say. I think it's clever. I say clever, it's not really clever, it's obvious business sense really, isn't it? Yeah, I don't argue with the theory, far from it. I just mean in terms of our situation where we find ourselves in the league now, which is, all right, goal difference might tell a little fib about the situation, but basically we're in the relegation. We're in the relegation places on points at least. With that in mind, it becomes a very, very different negotiation when you've got a player to sit down with his agent and you turn around and say, right, okay, we want you to join West Ham United. We're going to pay you £60,000 a week. Oh, by the way, it drops down to £30,000 a week in the event of relegation. I think at that point it becomes a very, very hard sell, because they turn around and say, well, actually, you're highly likely to get relegated, aren't you? So you basically, what any player then thinks they're signing a deal at £60,000 for 6 months and then a 3-year deal at £30,000. I just think then numerically they're less inclined to sign.
So why is, other teams have managed to do business though, haven't they? Villa signed Samata to play up front. Norwich have got a couple of players in from the Bundesliga.
Yes, but I think when you then put that alongside the fact that David Moyes has said he only wants players who are better than the players in the team. Now, I know it's very easy to look at the team and say, well, actually, the team are playing terribly, and I could play up front for West Ham United and do better than Sebastian Haller at home. But once you've got all of that out of the way, actually, you are looking to bring somebody in that can partner Declan Rice and push Mark Noble out the team. You are looking for somebody who's better than Zabaleta and Ryan Fredericks, and so on and so forth. So, and I don't know anything about Samata, which has an obvious joke with it, but and anybody that Norwich have signed. But if we are to believe David Moyes and take him at his word, that actually we need players who are better than Mark Noble, better than Ryan Fredericks and stuff like that, I will think you were looking to sign quite a high calibre player, and when you try and sign those players, they ain't taking that discounted deal that's on offer from West Ham United.
Well, I think they need to Demba Ba it up a little bit. Remember when we signed him, we had that clause in his contract when we get relegated, off you scoot. Maybe not something as drastic as that, so we don't get knuckles wrapped. But I do think that there will be players, if you were to perhaps insert a get out clause essentially in a contract, we buy you for 15, you can leave for 15 in the summer if someone comes in for you. I don't know, I just think it's too easy an excuse, if you ask me. I think it's too easy. It's difficult. Well, of course it's difficult, but you know something? That'd be like Man U turn around and saying, well, it's difficult for us to sign players to go in the first team because they all want to compete for the title and we're far away from that. So it is all subjective and it does come down a little bit. But I don't necessarily buy into the fact that Bowen of Hull, for example, possibly the best player in the Championship, would say, "No, I'm not coming to West Ham. He might get relegated to the Championship." Well, that's where you currently are anyway. So I think the Matty Cash thing sort of makes sense because you're buying a player that's already at that level. So the incentive is you want to be in the Premier League, better stay up and whatnot. But I would have. Without being disrespectful to Matty Cash, because I don't know him enough, I would just prefer to be a bit more ambitious if we're going to go down the Championship route and go for someone like Bowen, who, if we do go down, is probably going to get picked up by another Premier League club anyway. But there might be a couple of Denver bad deals coming up, so let's talk about them. Ronaldo Vieira, I mean, his names sound good, don't they? The Sampdoria midfielder.
Yeah, he sounds as good as two players. He's everything, isn't he? He's a winger, a striker, and a leggy defensive midfielder. And no, I think I've heard of him, but I haven't. I've just heard of people that sound like him. So again, I don't know anything about him, Gio.
He used to be at Leeds, I think. And then he went to Sampdoria. So you have heard of him. It's probably because he was at Leeds. But I can't tell. I don't know enough about him. But just before we move on, I just want to say thank you to Fadi Batty, who's put in $4.99 into the super chat and says, "Good content, lads. You are what's getting us through this depressing transfer window." Well, he's awfully kind. That's the hot nice. Paid for. Well,
he's lying.
Yeah, but I say, well,
but thank you in a lovely way, of course.
People always donate to the biscuit fund, but we never have biscuits.
I had some biscuits. Good,
get them out because that'll convince people we do buy biscuits.
I've eaten them. It's empty. These are nice.
Yeah, they're good. They're proper
chunky,
biscuits.
Chocolatey. I wonder if they'll sponsor us.
But you can't get
better than Fox's chunky cookies. The type of biscuit I like to eat.
Link in description to buy some Fox's. It's not really. They're not paid for that part. You only get about 6.
I do know something, Gio. I know something. I'll save it for a cup of tea. Apparently, we don't do any in the know, do we? Apparently, we were offered 2 Inter Milan players, right? But what was it? We were offered 2 Inter Milan players on loan, but we had to buy them for the agreed fee, regardless of whether we got relegated or not. So we turned it down.
Was one of them the guy that's with Newcastle? The winger guy, Lazarazzo or something.
One of them was a winger. I don't know. I'm so crap at this.
He's away to Newcastle now on loan. I think they might have to buy him. Just like they've signed Bentaleb as well. That's a good sign. I would have liked to have seen Bentaleb here. Yeah. So that's a good sign. More players. Sukek, Slavia Prague centre midfielder and captain actually. So he's got a bit of, what's the word? He's got something about him. He's captain. He's an important player, isn't he? Decent enough club as well.
It's called Slava.
But I can't see us. Can we entice people like this to come and join our relegation battle? But the problem is, the rumours are, it's coming down to the deal. They want 25 million for him. We're offering half that, basically. We're saying, we'll take him for half, or we'll take him on loan with an option to buy him for 25. I just can't see this one happening, to be honest with you. You ever heard of him?
Never, mate. No. So, I mean, he could be good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, this is the thing. It's not like it's some. He might be decent, but he's under the radar player. So, I wonder how many options he's got. You know, if it's a case of Liverpool, Manchester United, and West Ham are after him, and we're offering a little bit less, then of course, no, he's not going to come. If what's happening is someone no one's heard of, and actually West Ham are the only club bidding for him, we might get him. But I don't know. What do I know?
Loan deal lined up for Shalov, the Russian striker who's at CSK in Moscow, has 6 goals this season in 20 games, but apparently that's also hit a stumbling block. There's a theme here. They've all hit stumbling blocks. I mean, spoiler, every other rumour we talk about with Gonzo in the next 5 minutes have all hit stumbling blocks, okay? They've all got them.
That's probably no bad thing. If he's only scored 6 goals in 20 games, then we're probably not missing out on anyone particularly special.
Well, you say that, but there's someone else we've been linked with. Serov Gurazi. He plays for French club Amiens. Is that how you say that? That's a French club. They signed him for 5 million in the summer, and he scored 5 goals. We're looking to loan him. I don't know, roughly the same, 19.
I don't know. I mean, I thought the thing was to to bring in players that go immediately into the first team. I mean, this is the thing. Haven't we got? I mean, I think Ajetti's record was quite good before we signed him. I think he'd scored a decent goal to game ratio. So I don't know. I mean, we used to having names thrown at us. I think we complained when the names were too extravagant. Well, oh, come on, don't be ridiculous. We're never going to get him. Carlos Bacca, we'll never get him. That's absolutely ridiculous. I'll tell you what, now we're getting names thrown at us that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, I mean, there's a feeling of scattergun approach going on in the last 24 hours a little bit. Ever since we got beat by Leicester, there's just names getting thrown about. I mean, Dimitri Payet was linked after the Leicester game. I wasn't really going to discuss that, to be honest with you, but what did you make of that rumour when you saw it?
Well, I didn't particularly believe it, and but yeah, apparently there was no truth in it at all. Whatsoever. Apparently there was just never any approach was made. It just wasn't something that was done. And I think even if we were to be after him, we'd only look at it on a 6-month loan or something like that. But of course, you're not going to get Dimitri Payet on that. I don't think there was any huge resistance, Gio, to be fair, on him coming back because he was a bit naughty last time or anything like that. I think the club will probably appreciate that he's a very, very good player. I think West Ham fans would as well. I mean, be interested to know what people think in the chat. Whether would you swallow your pride and have Dimitri Payet back? I don't think he's so old that he's completely washed up. I saw a clip of him relatively recently at Marseille, bossing everything, really. I think he was involved 3 times in the build-up and then scored and then put the finish on the end. And it was the Dimitri Payet that we all used to love, full of skill, full of flamboyance, running. He doesn't look like someone that's coming towards the end of his career. He would undoubtedly come over. He would undoubtedly make us more creative, and he would do a job. I would bite your hand off for Payet back, but there's no truth in it.
I wouldn't. I don't know. He's done the dirty. We're in a relegation battle. We need battlers. Literally need battlers right now, and that's not something I associate with Dimitri Payet. Is he better than what we've got? Yeah, he is. But at the same time, do I trust we will see the best of him? No. He won't be cheap in terms of wages and stuff. He won't be cheap either. 33 years old. I don't know. We might get relegated, but let's keep some of our integrity about us, please. Just even if it's just a little smidgen.
Got any integrity?
Just a little bit. Most of it's gone, but if we can just cling on to that. Do you know that? If you open up your biscuit pack you just munched through, there's probably a crumb left. That's our integrity. We could just keep that crumb. That would be good. I think Payet would be you eating the crumb.
Maybe we launch a competition for the crumb.
Maybe. But anyway, live chat. Would you take Payet back or not? People are sort of half and half. Ravi says I would have Payet back, but he must be fit. Peter Darlow says no chance, the man's a snake. Ray says I wouldn't want fat Payet. Tom Calder posted an emoji of a snake. He went he upgraded a little bit. Yeah, he showing off. More agreeing with me, unfortunately. Tom Calder says he can go F himself. I'd rather get relegated.
What, me or Payet?
I think he meant Payet, but now you've said that, I'm not too sure.
I think he might mean me. Very rude. Very rude.
I've got a bit of a stumbling block now after reading that. But anyway, back to the rumours. Udinese midfielder Seko Fofana. I'm not making this up, by the way. This is not a Luca Magnotta thing. These are real rumours. 17 million euros is what they want, so I've already put a line through that one.
Yeah.
Neither of us know him anyway. But there is one guy I think could happen.
Oh.
But it won't.
Oh.
I'll tell you why. And it'll be interesting to get your reaction to this because I'll explain it in a second. Yannick Carrasco, you might know him. Belgian international. Big place for Belgium. He's in the first team quite often and whatnot. Holds his own. He's over in China at the minute with Dalian Yifang. But he could be going out on loan to the Premier League. However, the issue is his wages. 180,000 British pounds, that is, not yen. £180,000 a week he's on. So that's the no-go there. Now it's a loan deal.
It definitely would be yen. It definitely would be yen. Anyway, might get through quarantine, would he, if he's coming from China?
There's some up here in quarantine. 4 people up in Scotland. Yeah, they've got the Nova virus or whatever it's called.
Nasty. You want to be careful.
I don't know where in Scotland. I was hoping for a bit more specifics, because if it's in Glasgow, I'm not too fussed. It's quite far away.
It's quite vague, isn't it, to say it's in Scotland? Yeah.
It's a big place, What people might think it's not a little village. It's,
no, says Geo from the Highlands.
Oh, don't start that. I've had problems getting these mugs because once I'd ordered the packaging to put the mugs in, once they took my money and accepted my order, I got an email today saying you've got to pay an extra £12 because you live in the Highlands. I don't live in Highlands, mate. I live in Aberdeenshire. That is not the Highlands. But they just consider anything north of Dundee to be the Highlands. So that's not good.
Anything that's anything bigger than a speed bump, they consider to be the Highlands.
I think so. So £12 extra I had to pay. Disgraceful. Anyway, this guy. I think this guy is the type of... You say you want Moyes wants players to come in and get into the first 11. Bang, he does that. Yeah. You want talent, bang, he is that. You want Dimitri Payet because he's good. This guy's good. He's expensive. But remember in the last cup of tea when we were talking about prepping for relegation and that, and I said to you, we've saved a lot of wages. Now's the time we've got to be a bit foolish with it. We've got to be a bit careless. And I said, maybe not transfer money-wise, but in terms of wages, this is where we've got to be a bit loosen the purse strings and get some players in. This guy fits that. It's a lot of money, but we're in a desperate situation. We have to, I'm not saying pay it, but we've got to be competitive here. If this guy is available on loan, we've got to have a run at him. Because the one thing, when I referred earlier to Villa and Norwich buying players because they were able to track them despite the relegation battle, what they could maybe not do is afford 180 grand a week in wages. And we can. We have to show our muscle somewhere. And that is in the wages we can offer. You said, no, we can't do that. Have you changed your mind?
I said, no, we can't do what?
Chuck wage money around. Because this was on the back of the Yarmolenko thing, because you said you would loan out Yarmolenko to save a bit of wages, and I said, we've done that, we need to spend it.
Oh, no. It wasn't that I want to tighten the belt. I think there's a massive surplus of wages. I think we not save 18 million wages by getting rid of everybody, basically. So no, it wasn't that. It was more the point of I could see the allure to the club of saving the wages for Yarmolenko. No, I want those 18 million wages to be invested back. I want us to finish this season. Well, look, you're allowed to. We've had Kieran Maguire on this very channel. You did an excellent interview with him in a 24-hour stream. And he very clearly stated that with each season, the increments are, with each season, you can add £4 million to your wages and remain within the FIFA fair play, financial fair play, whatever it may be. So we can add 4 million on top of last year's wages. We're 18 million under. We have got a lot of wages. There's a lot of Matty Cashes that can be bought with all the Wonga in our coffers, all right? So, absolutely. No, if that's what it takes, get the guy in. No, I just understood the allure of saving on Yarmolenko. If he's injury prone, he's not going to play.
We're being linked to Payet again, although that is probably extremely unlikely. Yannick Carrasco, the AC Milan midfielder, continues to pop up. And Joe Allen, this is the last transfer rumour. We'll get on to another couple of bits and pieces, then we'll take the questions from the live chat. Live chat only tonight. Not taking any on social media because often we miss out on the live chat and I don't like it. I feel a bit bad. So the live chat, we've got the questions for the live chat only tonight. So get them prepared. But the last rumour was the Joe Allen thing. Did you see on Monday night Stoke played... I don't even know, but Stoke played someone on Monday night, and I watched the game as well. This is how bad it was. And
did they play West Brom?
Yeah, they did actually. You're correct. They did play West Brom. So they played West Brom, and there was a report that we had scouts at the game. Now the thing is, right? Not only do we not have scouts, but if we only have scout, why is he at the Stoke game? Joe Allen's the one guy you do not need to scout. If you need to scout anyone, it's not Joe Allen. It's not the guy that everybody is seeing constantly for season upon season. And I don't believe that in the space of a week, our scout has gone out and scouted all these players that we've just gone through. It's very much Sullivan's just gone, let's just see what the wind brings in, shall we? And if you have a look at some of these players we have been linked with, you will find a couple of agents' names not too far away that David Sullivan likes. Mackay in particular is popping up in a couple of these deals. So that's how I guess they've come around with just one scout. But I think we've made a boo-boo. Despite not signing anyone, I think we've actually made an error. Dean
Sorry,
Garner.
a boo-boo. I thought this was another signing for us.
No, I'm afraid not. We've not scouted him, I don't think.
No.
He is... Dean Garner is staying at West Brom for the remainder of the season. I believe they paid about another £1 million. Now, prior to... Whenever we've discussed Dean Garner, Gonzo will tell you, I've always been adamant he should remain at West Brom. But our situation has changed since we last discussed it. We are desperate. And I actually cannot believe we are letting him stay at West Brom, to be honest with you, Gonzo. I just don't get it.
Well, I think you just explained why at the start. They were for just £1 million.
Yeah, but it's just baffling. We are trying to sign Matty Cash, a youngster who's performed very well in the Championship. And we've got the option to take Dean Garner, a youngster who's performing very well in Championship, back to the club for nothing. It's our player, and they've just left him there. I'm absolutely baffled that we've allowed this to happen. And now I know he got a minor injury in the last game. However, if we called him before that minor injury, he would be fit for tomorrow's game. He would be there, ready to play for West Ham tomorrow at the London Stadium. But not only that, we said, yeah, West Brom, you can keep him for £1 million. We don't have players.
The only thing, and I play devil's advocate, I know nothing about this at all. I wonder if, reading into what he'd said in an interview a month or so ago, that he'd like to stay there all season and have the full campaign. I wonder if maybe Moyes sounded him out and said, look, how would you feel about coming back? And then Dean Garner said, actually, I would rather stay here for the full season. I just wonder if that conversation happened. If that was the case, then of course you can ask the question, should Moyes have put his foot down and said, oh, no, you're coming, and then Moyes deal with it. But, maybe that happened. Who knows? Maybe that's the reason why that he just decided to leave him there. But I do totally and utterly agree. You sort of look, when we were doing our preview last night and we're making up the team and everything, and I'm scratching off Snodgrass, putting Lanzini on the wing and moving Antonio to the wing and a Jetty up front. And I'm basically, rearranging the furniture, as it were, because we don't really have a winger there. And actually, you're right, because if we did have Dean Garner, then that team would be, Antonio on one wing, Dean Garner on the other. And it all becomes an awful lot easier, doesn't it? So I again... would have brought him back, but I only offer that as mitigation as to why he might not have been.
Yeah, it's a bit of news. It's been kept a bit quiet from the club, which is a bit strange. Josh Cullen had a 1-year contract. Josh Cullen had a 1-year option in his contract, which the club could trigger at any point. According to Josh Cullen himself, this is literally from Josh Cullen, the club have triggered it. The club have extended his contract to the summer of 2021, although there's been no official announcement by West Ham themselves, which is a bit strange. Would you call him back? Right now, would you take Josh Cullen back?
100% I would, Gio. And now I know he started the season well. I know he finished the season very well last season, got promoted under Lee Bowyer. Lee Bowyer walked away from his job, then walked back into his job, was adamant that he wanted Josh Cullen to play a pivotal part this season. I know he started well, but I couldn't tell you about Josh Cullen's form. That being said, he's now no longer an inexperienced young player. He's 23, 24 years of age. He's played many games for Bolton, and he's played lots of games for Charlton. He's probably played well over 100 games. I think probably you could safely say that. And I think, was he not their player of the season last year, Charlton? So this is not. It's a bit like Dean Garner. This is not somebody who is average. You're not, recalling somebody who's not really done it. You're recalling somebody who's good, and recalling somebody in a position where we have real problems. Do I think Josh Cullen is necessarily what we need? No, he's not ideally what I think we should go out and buy him for central midfield. We do have such problems in central midfield, particularly with the games twice a week. Then that's the person, when you are giving Noble one game on Saturday, you rest Noble for Wednesday, you play Josh Cullen in there. Noble then comes back in for the Saturday, and that's what it allows us to do. You're almost hindering yourself. You're crippling yourself by not bringing these guys back. They're our players. They're contracted to us. You bring them back, and then all of a sudden you don't get that ridiculous-looking bench that we had against whoever was it, against Everton or whatever it might have been. So yeah, that's it really.
Yeah, I agree. He was injured, but he's just back from injury. So I think he's going to be starting from Charlton again. But his form's been very solid again. How the guy can't do more when he's been out on loan to say to West Ham, look, give me a chance. Even when he gets asked questions, Dean Gander's hinted he wants to stay at West Brom. Josh Cullen has repeatedly said, I want to play at West Ham. I am here to learn my trade. I'm grateful to be here, but long term, I want to be at West Ham. I would bring him back, because there's at the very least there's a place for him on the bench, because there's no other options. Even if you do get another centre midfielder in the transfer window, there's still a space for Josh Cullen in the squad. I think it's strange, to be honest, that we've not recalled him. Strange we've not called Dean Garner. And we're pissing about trying to get players that we don't know if they want to come to West Ham, if they can do in the Premier League, nothing. It's just, I don't know, it would have just lightened the load. But the thing is, we could have done with these two players 2 weeks ago. It's almost too late now. Well, it's not too late to bring them back now, but you've missed, or we are missing, the fixture influx. It's happening now. We're in the middle of it. We could have done with these. Moyes could have done with them. As soon as Moyes was back in, it's probably the first thing he should have done, to be honest. So when can I recall Cullen and Dean Gannon? When can I get them back? Here's the dates, David. Brilliant. Done. Taking them back then. The worst case scenario, at the end of January, I'm not impressed with what I've seen. I loan them back out again, because West Brom and Charlton will happily have them back. So away they go. But I don't know. I'm not keen on that type of thing, because I don't think it's fair on the players. But the situation we're in now is just ridiculous. Anyway, I had a couple of questions, but I missed them. But get your questions in now. Kent Hammers, do you think the club offering free coach travel to 3 away games is a bribe because of the protests, etc.? For those who don't know, the club have announced today that they will be running free travel from the Aquatic Centre in Stratford up to Liverpool away, and there's another 2 games. Man United away, the last away game of the season, and there's another away game in between then as well that they're putting on free coach travel.
I think for 2 of them, yes. In answer to your question, yeah, I do. Yeah, a bit of buttering up, as you say. I think one of them they had to, because the trains weren't. There was literally no way that you could get. I can't even remember which game it was, but there was one of them where there was just no way of. It may have even been the Sheffield United game, possibly, actually.
Yeah, it was, but they announced it 3 days before the game.
Yeah. Okay, so it was that one. The other ones, yeah, I really do. But it's small gestures. But, I mean, without being funny, they're not going to... I don't even know if that was that part. Is that part of the demands to help out with away travel? It is part of the demands, to help out more with away travel. Fair enough, it clearly is. They're clearly trying to...
This is
some leeway.
This is why I'm gonna get onto. I'm glad someone asked this question, because I didn't really want to mention it, because it feels like you're just digging at the club for the sake of digging at the club. But thanks to Kent Hammer for allowing me this opportunity. But basically, they announced it. But in the article, it's very much been given to the OSB. The OSB, But the thing is, there was no mention of this until Hammers United started demanding free travel to the Liverpool game in particular. They did that 2-3 days ago. Hammers United started tweeting the club saying, where's the free travel to Liverpool? It's a Monday night, there's no trains, where's the free travel? And then they've brought out today and said, oh, well, it's the OSB come up with a suggestion. But the thing is, I think this was what discredits the OSB, because a lot of people that read everything and stuff can see what Hammers United are doing and then see this, think, hang about, come on, this is not the first time it's happened, and I actually think it does OSB more harm than good, and it's the club's fault once again. I think the club should just announce a free travel, and that's that. Don't credit it to anyone, just keep your mouths zipped. But it's the fact they credit it to a group. Now, OSB might very well have had this planned prior, but it's just another coincidence, because it's not the first time that OSB have apparently had something in the pipeline of the club, but it doesn't get announced until after someone else has pursued it. And I just find it a bit, not strange, I don't know, they're just desperate for the OSB to work a little bit, and I just think, behave, jog on. It's a good initiative from the club, though. Credit where credit's due. It's good for the club, but you're not doing your own supporters group any good.
No, but I don't think anything that comes out of the club in terms of press anymore, and I've been highly critical of the press last week and the stories that come out about West Ham and the way everything is spun. But the more I thought about it, I've become convinced that actually the stuff is not for the West Ham fans anymore. I think the club have conceded that they've lost the West Ham fans, so I don't think that spin is for them. I think it's for everybody else. I think what you get in with all the stuff I spoke about last week, and Moose and the they're talking about the numbers on the protest and just all the other stuff we were seeing, the interviews. We had the David Gold, of course, I just mentioned. We had David Sullivan, and we had Karen Brady. All did interviews within the same week. All of that stuff is for the general footballing public.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's for your Liverpool fan who might keep an eye on other ones. That's for your Wolves fan who likes a bit of Premier League. That's for the fan who maybe doesn't even follow a particular team but watches a bit of Match of the Day. That's because we are a West Ham fans are a niche. There's not very many of us, and there's not. There might be 4 million people that watch Premier League football every week. I don't know. Pluck that out of the sky. There might be 60,000 West Ham fans, something like that. And that's what it's for. It's propaganda to them, and that is why when I tune into TalkSport on, I can't even remember the date. It might have been Monday. I tune in to TalkSport on Monday. They're saying, what are you moaning about? Why are you still moaning? What's going on? Everything's fine, right? And that's their offering, not to us. They know we know about the DOSB and that it's selected by the club. But the fact that the club can turn around and say, well, hold on a second, why are the fans protesting? We don't know. We've got an official supporters board. We meet with the fans on a regular basis. That information's not for us. That's for everybody else. So as Robbie Savage can say, I don't know what all those West Ham fans are moaning about.
Got free coach travel, lads.
Absolutely. There you go. And it's just more. Listen, I also think, don't get me wrong, I think they have to help the fans out and do that. I think if they didn't, then the Premier League would probably be saying to them, well, hold on a second, you need to sort something out because everybody else is doing a coach travel. But it is, don't ever assume anymore that the propaganda and the spin is for us. I think they've conceded that they've lost that.
Yeah, I think it's also for the West Ham fans that don't necessarily tune into social media.
Yeah.
They only read the official website, and that's fair enough. I mean, they're not listening to this then, are they? So
they won't know about those fantastic biscuits then.
No, they don't know about West Ham YouTube or stuff. But the thing is, they'll also believe it. So then this is when it makes it difficult when you're sitting next to someone in the ground who only tunes into whufc.com only, and then they're thinking, why is everyone pissed off at Sullivan and Gold? Got free coach travel to Liverpool. Say, well, yeah, but the thing is, in that message, there was very much a mistruth, if you like. Anyway, back to the questions. You spoke of other fans tuning into West Ham. There's one in the live chat right now, Josh Whaley, who's a Nottingham Forest fan, and he's commented, he is a Nottingham Forest fan, I think, because his icon is of the Forest badge. I can see it. He says, Cash is quality. I'm a Forest fan, but our manager Sabri Lamucci has said Cash isn't leaving. Armo says Gel and Gonzo. I've been called a lot of things. I don't think I've been called Gel before.
Hey.
Gel and Gonzo, if you could ask the board one question, what would it be? Keep up the great work. Okay, you're forgiven, Armo. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I don't. What can I say? I think I wouldn't. I think it's already been asked. It's the answers. You get that. It would be something like, it's not a question. So the other day, Moose asked a question: do you regret moving to the Olympic Stadium? And then David Goals comes back and says, I think it's the best thing we've done. So it's not the question. The questions get asked all the time. Those tough that you think are tough questions, I think they get asked all the time. What happens is that the answer is not challenged. And I think that's what I would do more than anything. I would listen for one of these stock answers, these cliches that are trotted out, and are then not cross-examined by the interviewer. I say I would. I know Geo certainly would as well. He wouldn't. You wouldn't let someone off the rope, would you?
Well, I would try not to. I don't know what I would ask them. It depends which one. I'd ask them all different questions, so wouldn't I? You wouldn't ask Sullivan the same question as Brady and so forth. But to what your point is about they've already been asked, I think it's also the wording of the question. So the question to David Gold is, do you regret leaving? He's going to say no. But if you change it slightly to, do you have any regrets? He might say, well, yeah, I might have some. Or have you ever regretted moving or whatever? If you change the wording slightly, I think you might get a different answer from him. But if you ask him a yes or no question like that, he's going to have to say no. Because if he says yes, everybody's going to come back and go, right, well then, let's pack up and leave. Get planning the new stadium, mate, because we're moving somewhere else. He just can't say it. This guy's trying to sell a club. A lot of people believe they're going to try and sell a club. You can't to potential buyers, say, I regret moving into the stadium, but I'll tell you something, you can have my share for a few $100 million. Well, no, mate, you don't like it. You just told us that you ballsed it up. He's got to come out with, now this is a fantastic move. He's got to. He's window dressing for the potential sale of his share of the football club. He's got to be very canny with what he says in the press, and he's got to keep the value in his mind. He's got to keep the value up there. Give anything away, and it comes down a little bit more each time. It's like my cash today. What bottom prices you're trying to sell Newcastle for, because everyone knew what was going on. Anyway, but back to the questions. Charlie Walsh. Charlie says, which ex-player would you want to interview?
Is Charlie going to the West Brom game?
No.
Charlie? He's not?
No, he's working.
Is he? Naughty. Very naughty.
I think it's quite good, actually.
Which yeah, you're right. It's not naughty.
How dare he pay taxes?
Yeah. Have they got to be alive?
No, let's just say no. I don't think you'll get much conversation out of the dead one, but you can interview him if you want.
It's probably more than I get at home sometimes.
More than you get out of David Gold.
Yeah. Well, it's debatable which category it falls into.
Oh, okay, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
No, I meant to see a live one. Anyway, don't worry. That's in bad taste, that joke. I do apologise. So a little bit apologise. I don't know. Why don't you answer first and let me have a think about it?
I actually don't know anyway, but just off the top of my head, Kevin Nolan. I'd like to. The thing is, I'd have to do someone I've seen a lot of, because it's easier. It's just easier for me, and I think because he was there under Allardyce, he got booed by our fan base a little bit. He's played under the owners. He's then been very much not in contact with the club since he's left, but he's also kept an eye on the club since he left. So I'd almost want to. I don't know. The thing is, it'd have to be an outspoken ex-player. There's an ex-player out there that's willing to gob off. Okay, there is. There's definitely at least one. I want to find him, and that might be Kevin Nolan. And if it is, Kevin Nolan's my answer.
Yeah, I think the initial thought is that you go and interview somebody who was a legend or somebody you liked. But I think if the thing is, you can interview somebody and you can ask them anything and they have to answer, then actually somebody that's not very nice might be good. Actually, maybe the interview with Marko Arnautovic and his brother, where they had to answer every question.
Well, that would be dynamite,
wouldn't it? Just, you know what I mean? Yeah,
maybe
it's maybe Benny McCarthy. Benny, why did you keep eating? Just anything. You could. I think there are probably some interesting ones out there, actually. Thomas Repka would probably be an interesting one, actually. Not I liked Repka, don't get me wrong, but he'd probably give you a very, very, a very good interview. Actually, can't speak English, can he? Be a terrible interview, Gio. Terrible.
Andy Carroll would be good, I think, because I think he's got a chip on his shoulder with. I mean, clearly, Cam Brady, he's already hinted at that.
Benny McCarthy would have had that chip on his shoulder pretty sharp, Mr. Gio, I can tell
you. Anyway, Clayton, do you think Zabaleta, Snodgrass, Lanzini and Martin Noble should still be starting matches?
Snodgrass, Zabaleta, Lanzini and Noble?
Yeah.
No, but I don't see that we've got an awful lot of options at the moment, as I found out when we did our preview and I was trying to find 11 players to put in a team. Ideally not. For different reasons. Zabaleta would be put out, I was going to say to pasture. A bit harsh today, I am. To allow to continue with the rest of his life and enjoy some quality time with his family. Mark Noble would be put on the bench and start working his way towards club ambassadorial work. I would keep Snodgrass at the club, but again, it would just be a squad player who pops on occasionally. But he's got such a character, I'd keep him around. Lanzini would need to be dropped until he finds form, and then someone who, another number 10 puts in there. But we're just not blessed with these choices.
Yeah, I agree. Gonzo's just got no players. We don't have any option. Moyes doesn't have any option. This is why we're in trouble. Harry Bailey says, who do you think will stay if we go down? And after that, you think we will survive in the Championship?
Excellent question. Excellent question.
Matty Cash.
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean you could do an hour on that. To be fair,
someone tweeted me out the other day asking, could you do a video on like the pros and cons of relegation? I thought, well, we could do a video on relegation, i.e., money, players, whatever. What we think.
Well, let's do that video. Let's ask the question.
Harry.
In homage to Harry, let's do that video next week. Who stays and who goes in relegation? That's an interesting. And actually, in terms of relegation, I've got a video. Peter, I've got your video, mate. It's just we've had so many uploads and all the rest of it. I'm going to save it. I'm going to upload your video tomorrow. Peter is talking on the forum channel about relegation. Peter Belfast Hammer. So thank you for sending that in, mate. We definitely do that video next week, though, Gio. That'd be a good one.
Michael Swain, if we get relegated and West Brom get promoted, do you think Dean Garner would want to stay at the Baggies?
That's brilliant. That's fantastic. Yes.
Of course he would.
Yes, actually, and that's fantastic. That's for so many reasons. It's so mischievous in terms of Bilic and the whole thing. And also, you have to really suggest at that point West Brom have more financial clout with us. They've already apparently offered us $3 million for him to go on loan there next season. Yeah. They might just turn around and say, actually, you're in the championship. It's $15 million. We're taking him. We're a Premier League team. That's great. I love that question.
Richie says. He's talking about that fan board on Twitter. I should have read that question. I don't really want to dismiss any fan of West Ham, really. Have you seen the Twitter account he's on about? It's called
I've not been on Twitter I've not been on Twitter since last night. I'm very I've been a funny old couple of days. So yeah, no, I've not.
I think he's genuine because he went on West Ham Fan TV's podcast.
Sorry, who are we talking about?
There's an account on Twitter he basically called himself fan of the board, and he's very a fan of the board. And I think he takes it too far sometimes, but I do think he genuinely likes the board though, and I feel a bit sorry for him that he's got to name his account as fan of the board and not his actual name, because he knows that if he has his actual name, the amount of stick he's going to get. And I feel a bit. It's harsh, really, that someone feels like they cannot express their own opinion because of the blowback. But I do think sometimes his opinions not made up, but I do think it's like for the sake of it or baiting people. I do think it goes too far. But you can say that about people that are negative about the board. You do think, come on, just calm it down a little bit here. Yeah. The conspiracy theories have gone too far at this stage. Let's just rein it in a little bit.
I do know who you mean. You don't have to have been on Twitter today or yesterday to know this has been going on. This has been going on for a little while. But I did see people interacting with him last week and getting quite annoyed with him. And I did laugh, actually. I did respond, and I just laughed. Because, look, we've been on forums, either our own or the one before it, since 2003 myself. I have seen many of these accounts pop up. All right, this one's on Twitter. It is... Whether he believes it or whether he doesn't believe it, it is a fishing exercise to name yourself that. He knows where he might believe Gold and Sullivan are great, but he's still to create that account. It's still done with fishing. He knows it's inflammatory. He knows it'll upset people. And the moment you do something that you know will upset people, you're looking for a reaction. If he's looking for a reaction, he's fishing. But you can't get. Look, I can't be nasty about it or anything like that. I do have to laugh, but also don't forget, the whole premise of Hammer's chat from its inception is you can have any opinion that you want. Please don't ever shoot someone down for the alternative opinion. We've got a stonking old thread at the moment, by the way, on the forum on hammerschat.com, which is about the protests and all the rest of it. And it's been really, really good, actually, because there's loads of people, loads of different opinions, some pro-protest, some anti-protest. But in the main, everybody is saying their opinion and saying, but you know what, each to their own, you do what you want. And that is exactly, disagree, always disagree. If you challenge something, if you do, but be pleasant and remain pleasant throughout. And that's why I'll just laugh. We did a post and I had to laugh because I just saw it.
He takes it too far at times, but I do think he genuinely supports the board. I do think there is a genuine like of the board behind it. And I think, I don't know, I just I don't interact with it. He's never interacted with me, but I've got nothing against the bloke. I've not blocked him or muted him or that. Just crack on, mate. It's your account. Have fun. Colin Sharples, do you think we will sign anyone this window?
Yes,
we've got to, haven't we? I mean, it might not be a good player, but it'll be a player.
I do. I 100%. I'm not saying it'll be brilliant. I'm not saying even have heard of him. But we will sign somebody this window. And I don't mean Randolph.
You don't mean what? Sorry, Randolph.
I don't mean Randolph. Yeah.
No, I think we'll get at least one more player. But again, ability wise and stuff is there. We're just desperate. We really are. That desperate. I think it's not so much we'll take anyone, but I do think we're getting to that point. To be honest with you, it's sort of like who's available, we'll take him in. Are we doing a transfer deadline day show?
Don't know what day does it. Don't give me the date. What day does it fall on?
It's a week today.
Is it? What, a week today?
Yeah, it's 24th today, isn't it? So 31st is a week.
It's crikey, man. Yeah, I'll get it.
Is it 5 p.m? It normally shuts at 5 p.m. And
well, that might be, depends on work. That might be. I don't know. We'll have a look closer to the. We'll have a look at the. Clearly, you've surprised me by it. So yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that could be a depressing bloody show. you know. He says, "Don't go to bed, DG. Don't leave work early." G&G.
Just going to run a second. Is there anything else you want to discuss? I'll take one or two more questions from the live chat, then we'll wrap this one up. But anyway, that's it. Unless we get another question in the next 30 seconds, we will start wrapping this one up. Nice cup of tea that was. I enjoyed that one. Your video was sort of thought-provoking yesterday about the transfer strategy. And welcome to the dark side, my friend. In the sense that we are preparing for relegation. We've got a couple of questions. Ian Wilkins, this is an interesting question. Do you think if we go down, do you think we will keep our 11,500 subscribers? I assume he's talking about this channel. It's not quite on 11,500. Will our subscribers go down? I don't think they will, but I think our view count will go down.
Yeah, views will go down. Subscribers won't. I'm pretty sure the subscriber count will continue to grow. It's been, I'm funny enough. I spoke to somebody earlier from a separate channel, and they were saying to me, actually, the views have been really high. I know for a fact. I said the forum, the numbers have been really high on the forum at the moment. I know Clarence Hughes' numbers are up as well. So we've got 4 or 5 examples of people are really taking on the West Ham content at the moment, because I think just everyone's so scared about what's going on with the club and the results, and obviously it's transfer window, so you always get a lot of traffic transfer window. I think the major thing that I think about when I think of the relegation as far as the channel is concerned is we have even more of a duty because to carry on and to do more in many respects, because the Premier League's all encompassing. There's red ticker tape. There's yellow ticker tape going on. Sky Sports News, Talk Sport are talking about it. As much as we deride them and don't like them, everybody talks about the Premier League. News is going to be a lot harder to come by if we go down to the Championship. So people will lose their connect with West Ham. Do you know what I mean? The people, particularly people overseas, are going to be reaching out for any sort of news on West Ham. So I think you've almost got to up your game even more. Do you know what I mean?
I think the West Ham people still tune in. It's the non-West Ham people that tune in will tune out, because we do get a lot of them. Quite often we get an email from someone that say, "Hi guys, I'm a Wolves fan. Just thought I'd say hi. Really enjoy your content." One of the best threads we've seen this season on any forum actually is on a Wolves forum, and they put our preview up. Someone put a preview up, and the comments on it were really nice. Someone sent it to me, and I sent it to Gonzo. Have a read of this. This will make you Wednesday morning or whatever morning it was. Just saying, they enjoyed the videos and stuff, and it is nice when non-West Ham fans like it as well. I mean, I listen to non-West Ham stuff sometimes from a footballer's perspective, and it is enjoyable. Couple of last questions, and we'll start wrapping this up. I've got a bit of an Hammer's exclusive for Gonzo. Yeah, it's exciting times. I'll get onto that in a second, though. Migsy says, which tea is the best brand? Are you sticking with your Yorkshire blend thing?
Golden Yorkshire, yeah.
PG tips for me. We're pretty loyal. We are. We've not changed in the last 2 years. We've been.
They can sponsor. They want to sponsor a cup of tea.
Yeah, but I don't want to
change. I'm not sure I would go. I couldn't drink Tesco Value tea. If Tesco Value said we'll sponsor a cup of tea, I'd say no. You can take it. You can take your dirty old tea and do one. But apart from that, if it was If Twinings came up and said, can Twinings sponsor a cup of tea? I say, yeah, bring it on. Our free tea bag's part of the sponsorship. I'd take that.
Yeah, okay.
You can work on that.
I'm open-minded. I'm ready for a next level tea. Next level mug coming out soon. The YouTube viewers won't know what we're talking about, but we're going to show you. When it arrives, or we've got a mug coming out. It should be here in the next week. And when it comes out, we'll show you in the camera. Right, I was chatting exclusive for Gonzo. Remember that ex-player I told you about earlier, and we couldn't. The negotiations were sort of halfway through.
Right.
Negotiations agreed. Ex-player interview
is...
Yeah.
What you text me earlier.
Yeah, that player.
I was trying to think of an ex-player we were going to sign back. Or I was even thinking when you said to Charlie about asking a question to an ex-player. Okay.
Yeah. Agreed. That should be our first ex-player interview of 2020. Should we get done in the next handful of days. So exciting times.
Explain more. Don't tell them who. Obviously, you're trying to keep that secret. Explain what you mean. We've got an interview with an ex-player.
Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. There we go. Well, thank you for tuning in to Cup of Tea. We've the cup has well and truly run dry and gone cold.
But what we are also going to do, just quickly, is the patrons are going to get an opportunity. I'm going to put up a post as to who it is on the day I'm going to be interviewing him, and the patrons can submit questions. And we're going to be doing a bit at the end of the video where we put patrons' questions to the ex-players. Not my questions, not Gonzo's questions. Your questions. Yours.
So if you want to ask Marko Arnautovic why he was such a tosser, then you've got to
It's not Marko Arnautovic, it's just disclaimer, it's not Marko Arnautovic. Anyway, we're going to start rocking and rolling. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe new around here. Loads of content tomorrow. It's match day. West Brom at home. Slaven Bilic has confirmed he's rotating his side, by the way. I had a listen of his press conference. He said he's rotating his team. Moyes has got no players. Ogbona's out. Masuaku's out. Antonio's a doubt. Snodgrass is out. We don't have much players at all for tomorrow. Anyway, that's been Gonzo. I've been Geo. We've been Hams Chat. Hope you enjoyed this cup of tea. See you in a bit.